Today we're continuing with Isaiah, and we're picking up with chapter 55. Again, the thought of Isaiah has gone through. It went from 40, which is the good things that are now happening, the good relationship between God and Israel, and by inference by man, that he will have this Redeemer come, and this Redeemer will come and be there not just for Israel, but will be there for all men. And so we see many of this is very good news. The transgression is over. He talks, awake, put on your strength, awake, awake, put on your strength, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem. When we look at 52 and most of 53, we see he's talking about a coming servant. And this servant will deal prudently. He will be exalted and extolled. He will be very high. As many are astonished, his visage will be more marred than any other man. When we continue through this part of 52 through 53, we have the resume of what happened to Jesus, his life, and then what happened to him on the cross, saying that he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit. Yet it pleased God to bruise him. It talked about how that he poured out his soul unto death. Here it is that this king that's coming will die, and he will bear the sin of many and make intercession for the transgressors. Now, these transgressors are not just the Jewish transgressors, the Israelites, but for all men. He talks about the Gentiles a lot. And here we have Sing, O barren, that didn't break into singing, and cry, thou that didn't travail with child, because there's more of the desolate than with the children of the married woman. This is an inference, an inkling of the coming of what we call the church, the ecclesia, the called out. The called out among all men, not just the Jews. And we have this here. There were several scriptures that give an inkling of the church. Some people say that the church was a great big mystery. Well, it wasn't, if you read this carefully. If we go back to Isaiah 42, see if I can find that real quick. 42:1. Behold, my servant whom I uphold, mine elect, he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. Now, this is to the Gentiles. Judgment usually comes with also the sense of intercession and the intercession of mercy. In verse 6, he goes, and I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness for a light to the Gentiles. Once again, to bring in the Gentiles. 49:6 is also another one. Let me do a page or two here, where he says, it is a light thing that thou should be a servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, to call in the Gentiles. Verse 6 is a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be salvation unto the ends of the earth. This is again embryonic understandings of what we call the church. It's very interesting to see this if you look casually and listen to what he's saying. We often don't listen to what he's saying. We read what he's saying, but we don't say it out loud. We don't hear it in the context of a conversation. This even goes more in 55. Everyone that thirsts, come you to the waters, and you don't have money, come and buy and eat. Yea, buy wine and milk without money and without price. Now here that's interesting, because Jesus kind of alludes to some of that. Therefore, why do you spend money for that which does not satisfy, or labor for what doesn't satisfy? Hearken diligently to me and eat what is good. Incline your ear, hear, and your soul shall live. And I will be an everlasting covenant. Sorry, my dog's bothering me. I'll be an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. Now listen to that, an everlasting covenant. We know that there's no way that the shedding of blood of lambs and bulls can make an everlasting covenant. Again, he's talking about, the king intercessor dying, and he's going to make intercession. It says, even with the mercies of David. Behold, I will give him for a witness to the people. And thou shalt call a nation thou knowest not, and nations that knew not thee shall run unto thee, because of the Lord thy God, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he has glorified thee. That the Israelites are lifted up, and because they're lifted up, because the King of the Jews has been lifted up, and the statutes of God have been lifted up, the Gentiles come running. Once again, an embryonic idea of the church. I love what he says in 7. For the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. But let him return to the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. Remember, I said that you have to look for things that say like our God, my God, your God. Here that he's saying our God. If I say our God, I'm speaking to somebody who isn't a part of that, right? They will, it says here, and he will have mercy upon him and to our God. So you're speaking to somebody who's not of your God when you use the word our God. If I was talking to the Jews, I would say your God. See what we're doing there? A very simple turn of a word turns the entire meaning of this verse. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my thoughts higher than your thoughts. He's sharing his thoughts, things that were not seen, things that can be known, things that should be known. He's sharing them with them. For as the rain comes down and the snow from heaven and returns not, but waters the earth, so shall my word go forth out of my mouth, and will not return void. His word is like the rain. His word is like that comes down, and it will create growth. For you shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace, and the mountains and the hills shall break forth before you with singing. Instead of thorns, there shall come up the fir tree, and instead of briar, there shall come up the myrtle tree, and it shall be to Yahweh for a name and an everlasting sign that you shall not be cut off. The coming of this Messiah, the coming of this one who would die as the intercession sacrifice, would be an everlasting covenant that would not cut off the Jews. The Jews have not been cut off. There is no such thing as replacement theology. God is not replacing the ecclesia with Israel. There is still promises to be had with Yahweh and Israel that need to be taken care of. We've looked at them several times, those that have come out with the promises he made to Israel. To Abraham, the promises he made to David, those will come about. There will be a king forever on the throne. There will be an Israel that will be under God. It says in Revelation that we will reign with him. It says the foundation of the holy city will have like the signs of the 12 tribes on the foundations, but you will also have the 12 disciples in the gates that allow people in. And all of these are Jewish males. There are no Gentiles in the formation of the 12 tribes, and there's no Gentiles in the formation of the church. We are allowed in by God. What a great thing. Thus saith the Lord, keep your judgments and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness is revealed. Blessed is the man that does this, and the Son of Man that lays hold of it. See, we have things to do. We're not just supposed to be sitting around. There are things that we need to do for God, things that we need to do, not for salvation, not to appropriate it, not to keep it, because it can't be lost, but because we have it. We're supposed to walk in his light. We're supposed to show his goodness. We're supposed to glorify him in the land of the living. He talks about the strangers here, and that would be you and me. We're the strangers. We have joined themselves to Yahweh. But we say, Yahweh is separated from me, and the eunuch says, behold, I am a dry tree. There's nothing I have to give. He says just the opposite. Thus saith the Lord to the eunuchs that keep this Sabbath and choose the things that please me and hold to my covenant. Now, choosing to do the things that please him. Sure, Sabbath can please him. If you can't do Sabbath, find other ways to please him. Please him in your actions. Please him with your job. Please him with your family. Please him with your Bible studies. So here we have him broadening this to the Gentiles. And I will give mine house, and I will give in mine house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters, and I'll give them an everlasting name. Didn't Jesus say this, that in my Father's house are many mansions? We're getting to that. And the sons of the stranger, that's you and me, that join themselves to the Lord and serve him, to love the Lord and to be his servants. We are called to be the servants. We're not free men that we can go off and just live our lives like we're supposed to. We are his servants. and that keep his Sabbath and from polluting it, and hold on to the covenant, even to them while I bring my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house. And their sacrifice shall be accepted, and for mine house will be called a house of prayer for all people. It was sad when Jesus got there that the temple was not a place of prayer for all people to see the goodness of God. It was actually a place of mercantilism, of trade, of making money. It had prostitutes, and it had thieves. It had poor people begging for alms all over this holy city. And that's not what Yahweh wanted it to be. He wanted it to be a house of prayer. Jesus even referenced this verse. Once again, when you look at 52, 53, and now in 56, there's so much Jesus here. It's surprised that some Jews could say, well, Jesus was just a man. He got caught up in a rebellion and he got killed. That's that. That's not what your scriptures say. But the Lord will gather the outcast of Israel. Yet I will gather others to him besides those that are gathered. All the beasts of the field shall come to devour. He's calling about, not only will he bring in those who want him, he's even going to bring in those that don't want him. But yet they're going to get given to the beasts of the field and to the fowls of the air. They are their enemies. They will come to this valley of decision. We've heard of that before. And they will come and they will be judged. Yea, they are greedy dogs that never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. And the word shepherds over there is pastor. Sometimes there's pastors that just don't understand. Come ye and say, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be just like today, and more abundant. This is the lie they tell themselves. We're just going to have more. Let's eat, drink, and be merry. Tomorrow will just be a wonderful day. It'll never change. Today is like tomorrow, and tomorrow's like today. Well, that's not what it says here. The righteous perish, and no man lays to heart. Merciful men are taken away without considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. When they see the death and persecution, when they see the mounting numbers, it looks like evil is overtaking good and pushing good down and destroying good. We have all this persecution and death going to the church, to the ecclesia. Yet God could be removing the church out of the way. We talk about the harpazo, we talk about the rapture. But that doesn't mean that the whole church will be given to rapture. It might just be a small number. At the very last minute, he goes, we'll tell you what, there's only a few handful left. Let's just take them on up and let's get started. Persecution is also a way of getting people out of the way. Remember King Josiah, who said that he would die before he saw the fall of the nation, and that did happen. He shall enter into peace, they shall rest in their beds, each one walking in his uprightness. But draw hither, you sons of sorcerers, and seed of the adulterers and the whore, against whom you do sport yourselves, and against whom do you wag your mouth, and draw out your tongue. Who are you cursing? Who are you lambasting? Who are you complaining? Children of transgression, a seed of falsehood, inflaming yourself with idols under every green tree, and the smooth stones of the stream is your portion. Upon a lofty and high mountain have you set your bed. He gets very vulgar here in a sense of sexuality. Behind the doors also, and the post thou set up remembrance, for thou hast discovered thyself to another and not me. This is the idea of the wayward woman taking off her robes for another and not her husband. So that's kind of a little profaneness that he gives him here. That you're just a whore who's offering herself up. You're taking off your clothes for another that isn't your husband. And you've gone up, you've enlarged your bed and made a covenant with them. Thou lovest their bed when you saw it. When you saw their bed, what they had to offer, you loved it, and you didn't love the one who was and is to come. Thou art wearied in the greatness of thy way, and you say there is no hope. You've found life at your hands, therefore you haven't been grieved. But whom hast thou been afraid or feared, that thou hast lied and hast not remembered me? Why haven't you been afraid? Why haven't you feared me? Why haven't you remembered me? He's bringing this up for the disbelieving, and not just the disbelieving Jew. This part of Isaiah here at the very end gets very broad stroked. We're using the word redeemer not just for a Israelite or Jewish sense. We're opening it up to the whole world, and now the whole world is facing the same judgment. Cast ye up, prepare the way, take up the stumbling block out of the way, for thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabits eternity, whose name is holy. I will dwell in a high and holy place with him also that is contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble. He's not looking for the proud or the arrogant. He's looking for the humble. For I will not contend forever, neither will I always have wrath, for the spirit shall fail before me, and the spirit and the souls that I've made. For the iniquity of his covetousness was I wrought and smote him. Those that have the iniquity, those that are covetous, those that want, and can't get enough, and want, and without being humble, He said he's not going to, that he's wrought and he smote them. I have seen his ways, and I will heal him. I will lead him and restore comforts unto him and to his mourners. If you will turn to him, there is repentance and there's peace. I create the fruit of the lips. Peace, peace to him that is afar off, and to him that is near. I will hear him. But the wicked are like the troubled sea, and they cannot rest. There is no peace, says God, for the wicked. He is the one that wants to restore. Remember, he is Jehovah who pleads. He is a pleading God, and he's pleading with people to come back to him. We see so much wonderful thing here that now we're branching out. From here on, we're not going to be talking just about Israel predominantly anymore, although we will. We're also going to be talking about the world. And this really connects to the gospel so strongly, connects to Jesus so strongly. How can you not see him in these scriptures that were written 500 years before he came? This is a very good book, like I say, and I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing in it, but I'm really enjoying seeing more of Christ here than I've ever seen before. Look at this book, do the grid work on it, and see what God has done. Thank you.